Hello, CSE 696 folks. This is Podcasts and Vodcasts. My name is Bill Hamlin. I'll be your instructor this term. I've taught this course a few times and really find it quite interesting. I dabble myself in creating podcasts, but mostly I subscribe and listen to podcasts every day. So I really enjoy what we're going to be doing in this course, and I hope you will too. The course itself is a 5-week course. Check your syllabus for our exact dates, but usually these 1 credit courses are shorter. They're not the entire length of the term. This particular course is 100% online. Everything you'll be doing is through Moodle. We used to require some campus visits as well, but to make it more flexible for you guys, we'll just stick with the online. But if you would like some hands-on time or need to meet to discuss anything we're going over in this course, I am always available to meet with you here on campus. So when we think about podcasts and vodcasts, usually from this point on, I will be referring to everything as podcasts. I rarely use the term vodcasts, but there is a distinction between audio only podcasts and video vodcasts. So there is a distinction, and in some cases, we'll kind of point those out. But in general, when I talk about podcasts, I'm kind of lumping both into the same thing, audio and or video. So in most cases, it won't matter one way or the other. But when we do some of our own creating recordings, we'll start audio only, then we might do video. So there is some distinction there. But when we talk about podcasts, what do we mean? There are a few different interpretations of the term podcast. If we think about it from this first one, pod coming from iPod or really any type of mobile MP3 player, media player, that kind of thing, and then cast from broadcast, we get the sense that these are somewhat similar to radio shows that we're listening to and kind of accessing with our mobile technology. Another interpretation is kind of this acronym POD for personal on demand, and we'll talk a lot about this idea of personal and on demand here in a second. And then, like I say, vodcasts are video podcasts, different from audio only, and we can do the same acronym video on demand. So some of the fundamentals behind podcasts that I like to talk about to distinguish them from what I consider more static media posted online. There are plenty of videos online that are published and that's it. They're single videos that exist online that you can access, and that's great. They're useful. They're entertaining, whatever the purpose of the video or audio recording might be. They're kind of these one-off chunks of media that are just kind of sitting there online. Podcasts are different in that they're, for one, personal. When we think about podcasts, there are thousands and thousands of different types of podcasts, and we'll talk about this here in a second as well. But if you are interested in math education, for example, there are more than likely hundreds of different podcasts all about math education. Similarly, if you're really into a TV show, you can probably find a handful of podcasts that talk all about that TV show. So very personal in nature. I think one of the bigger components of podcasts that distinguish them from other types of media online is that they're episodic. So you might find a podcast published by a math teacher in Ohio, and what makes it a podcast is that math teacher uploads new content consistently. And the rate of upload and how often a new episode or recording is available differs greatly, but there is always new content being published, whether it's every day, every week, once a month, once every other month, whatever it might be. There are episodes, and you can kind of count on new content coming in. And because there is this new content being created, you can subscribe and have those new episodes and recordings automatically sent to your computer through iTunes or to your mobile device, your iPhone, your Android phone, whatever it might be. So let's watch a video that talks a little bit more about some of these details of podcasts that make it such a really cool technology.
Remember the good old days of TV and radio? Everyone would gather around to be entertained. Shows were broadcast at specific times, and if you weren't there on time, you missed it. Broadcasts disappeared into the ether. Well, things have changed. This is podcasting in plain English. Here's the big idea. Thanks to podcasting, showtimes don't matter. When a new show is created, podcasting gives you a way to capture it and take it with you to watch or listen to later, usually for free. It makes shows personal and available on demand. That's what makes it different from broadcasting. It works by setting up a connection between a website and a computer so that new shows automatically show up when available. Here are 3 reasons why podcasting is becoming so popular. The first is that anyone can do it. No satellites, radio towers, or studios needed. Most people only need a microphone or video camera, a computer, and a connection to the web. With these things in place, they can make their own show that is open to everyone. It also means that there's a wide variety of podcasts. Whether it's investment advice from Wall Street or your neighbor's gardening show from down the street, there's likely a podcast for you. The second is subscriptions. This means that if you visit a website that has a great podcast, you can click a button and subscribe to receive future shows automatically. All you need is a free tool called a podcatcher, like iTunes, that acts as a way to capture the shows. The shows become yours to listen to or watch as much as you want, where you want. The third reason is gadgetry. You can download a podcast onto a computer, but you can also download it to an MP3 player or other portable device and take it with you. And remember, podcasts work on all sorts of devices, not just iPods. So, let's look at how Jason uses podcasts. He uses the web every day, rides the bus to work, and loves Japanese culture. Recently, he found a podcast by a Western couple living in Tokyo. After a quick listen, he subscribed to their podcast from their website. That night, as he slept, a new show downloaded onto his MP3 player. The next morning, he was on the bus, listening to his new friends in Tokyo, imagining what it would be like to eat the freshest sushi in the world. Podcasting made it happen. It made it possible for the couple in Japan to create a show for only a few yen. It made it possible for Jason to subscribe to their show and take it with him. Podcasting means we don't have to depend on traditional media. Now, everyone can have a voice that shows their true colors. I'm Lee Lefevre, and this has been Podcasting in Plain English on The Common Craft Show. Oh, one quick thing. The Common Craft store now offers downloadable versions of our videos for use in the workplace. Find them at commoncraft.com.
Okay, so that kind of reinforced some of the fundamentals behind podcasting. So let's talk a little bit more about how to access podcasts. And personally, I use iTunes, and the lab we have here on campus is a Mac lab, so it's a very convenient way to access podcasts through iTunes. If you have a different platform you like to use, I'm sure there's something similar. But when we go into the iTunes store, obviously we've got all the music and movies and apps and all that kind of content we can purchase. But podcasts are free, and we can go in and we can browse by category. We can search for a specific type of podcast or just a content or topic in general. And here's an example of a podcast I found from NASA. And this is a little while ago, but it shows the kind of episodic nature of podcasts. I can go ahead and click the subscribe button. I can access older episodes. I can watch them right here in iTunes. It's a really great way to access really nice content. What we can see here is that this NASA podcast is a video podcast with this icon here, and we can get a little bit more information about each episode, things like that. When I subscribe to a podcast, back here in my iTunes library, under podcasts, I see that I have one new episode from the NASA cast. I can go ahead and watch it here on my computer, or I can open it on my phone, my iPad, whatever it is I might be using. So what's next? Well, because there are so many podcasts out there, it can be tricky to know which ones to use. So we need to know how to evaluate these podcasts. So some of the questions we can ask ourselves is, what is the purpose of the podcast? Who is the target audience? Who is the author? And is the information accurate, relevant, and would we use it in our classroom? So your assignment this week is to locate and download 5 different podcasts. So not 5 episodes from the same podcast, but 5 completely different podcasts. So I could use my NASA example. I could then go get a podcast from National Geographic, another one from Discovery, another one from Stanford University, wherever it is I might be finding these podcasts. But iTunes lets you kind of search and find those easily. You're going to want to then evaluate at least one episode from each of those 5 different podcasts using the questions that we posed in the previous slide. You'll also want to evaluate the quality of the recording or the video and its professionalism. And would it be usable in your classroom, either for your own development as a teacher or a professional, or for use with your students. You'll then want to post your review to Moodle and respond to at least 3 of your classmates. In your post to Moodle, be sure to include the name of the podcast, what it's about. If you can post a link to it, that's great, but then kind of talk about the meat of your evaluation. So that's what we'll focus on this week, and then next week we'll start talking more about creating our own podcasts. So, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email, give me a call, whatever works for you. And I hope you have a great time in this course. I know I do. And good luck searching for your podcasts.